Good morning. Here is my summary of the Sanibel Planning Commission meeting that was held this morning on January 25th, 2023. But first, I do want to mention that Bailey's grocery store was demolished last week. Most of all the debris has already been hauled off, and they are getting ready to start their new construction. The Planning Commission had considered two applications. The first application was submitted by Sundial Resort. The Sundial Resort has 285 total restaurant seats spread across the resort's restaurants. They want to move 36 seats from Waterside Restaurant to the Shima Japanese Steakhouse. The board approved that request. The second application was Coastal Creek's resubmission. Coastal Creek originally submitted an application for a 6 single-family home subdivision. It was approved by the Planning Committee in January 2023. But the neighboring subdivision, Heron's Landing, the main proponent of the Coastal Creek development, submitted an appeal to Sanibel's City Council. The City Council sided with the appeal and sent the application back to the Planning Committee for further review. Sanibel's lawyer started out the review by mentioning that this is a new application, that everything considered in accepting or denying the application should only be information submitted today, not any information from the January meeting or the April appeal. First, all interested parties who will be speaking swore in for the record. Craig in the planning department gave his report summarizing the Coastal Creek application, with him finding no issues with the application. Holly Milbrand, the director of natural resources, gave her report on soil test, reporting that Coastal Creek is following all their recommendations on testing and soil removal. The natural resources' main focus is the wetlands surrounding that area. The findings are that Coastal Creek development would not impact the wetlands. When it was time for committee questions, of course, Ty Sermowski had to talk a lot, like basically repeating procedure in question form, which was very confusing to me because as a so-called expert, he should already know all this, so why he talked like he was reading the code manual was a bit perplexing to me. It just shows he loves to hear himself talk. Eric Pfeiffer, my favorite board member, is the voice of reason, reminding everyone that the City Council denied it because they said the Planning Committee did not make sure that Coastal Creek is doing everything they can to ensure environmental damage is minimized. He was happy with Holler's report, showing that Coastal Creek will do everything they can to minimize environmental damage. The first public speaker was the Heron's Landing lawyer, who spent the first 3 minutes going over his resume. Again, why do all these people love reciting their resumes, their accomplishments? It's just like, I guess to prove their supposed expertise on whatever issue they want to talk about. I am sure the lawyer made some very good points, but he lost my attention as soon as he started reading his resume, basically patting himself on the back. Plus, I am admitting I am not unbiased on this issue. I side with Coastal Creek. I do not believe the Heron's Landing's residents actually care about the environment. I think they just care about the traffic that 6 new neighbor families might cause them. So when I did tune in to the lawyer speaking, he was going on about the Lake Heron's drainage lake, which is really a lake, how it had alarming phosphorus levels and how that needs to be fixed. I agree, but it sounds like it's an issue for the residents, not the Coastal Creek landowner who has not caused those current issues. The residents need to fix their lake instead of making it seem like this future development is causing current issues. The first resident to speak started off very condescending. He also went over his resume. Everyone is an expert and knows better than everyone else. What I found highly ironic is Ty questioned his experience and needed the resident to recite his resume again. It was too funny. The second speaker lost me when she compared the issue with the South Seas issue. She is another resident of Heron's Landing and talked about good stewardship. She had a couple good points, but again, she's ignoring all the tests that show Coastal Creek is not causing pollution, that they're fixing the issues that they can, that they're following all of Sanibel's guidelines. They are ignoring the fact that Coastal Creek is trying to be a good steward and very upfront about all their plans, which is the complete opposite on what South Seas is trying to do. We all know South Seas is being very secretive and they will not show what their plans are. Roger Grogman spoke first after public comment. He is one of the committee chairs. He pointed out that all the neighbors talked about the current lake pollution issue that exists currently with or without Coastal Creek, so they need to determine if Coastal Creek will make the issue worse. Ty got to speak again, and he spent more of his time making up hypothetical scenarios. He even mentioned the Super Bowl parties and parking issues. What is he talking about? Thank goodness someone said they cannot address future made-up scenarios. The Coastal Creek reps don't want to speculate. Ty Sermowski is the king of speculation. Eric Pfeiffer tried to get the meeting back on track. He asked, why is it Coastal Creek's burden to clean up the lake, a lake that the development does not even border? This is a very good point. Does anyone realize that Coastal Creek is not on this lake that everyone is obsessed with? I'm like, why has this not been mentioned before? So, after all said and done, listening to everyone debate, the board approved the Coastal Creek application. Ty was the only dissenting vote because he wanted to include an amendment that dirt from digging trenches for utilities should be removed from the island. I think he assumes it's contaminated. The planning department and the rest of the committee did not think that it was necessary, that the phosphorus levels in that small amount of dirt is insignificant and not necessary to incur additional expense just to remove it from the island. The committee had closing comments, and then close to 5 hours later, the meeting was dismissed. I am very happy that the Coastal Creek was approved, but I doubt that this is the last obstacle they will have to face. One of the residents during public comment threatened a lawsuit when really that resident should spend his lawyer money on cleaning up the lake in his backyard. Thanks for listening.